Willkommen, this is Julia.
And this is Shane. And this is Think Plant-Based. Think Plant-Based. Make sure to check out recipes, health tips, travel tips at www.thinkplantbased.com.
And we're officially on iTunes, so please rate and write us a review on iTunes.
Write us a review. Give us 2 stars, 3 stars, maybe 5 stars. Let us know.
For sure, 5.
Yeah, I mean, who would give us 2 stars anyways,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, make sure to do that because that's how we get found.
So how do vegans get their protein? Can they even
I
build
don't
muscles?
know. Maybe at the hardware store? Do they go there and pick up some hammers? And
Maybe something like that.
I don't know.
I mean, you get to ask that. You get that question all the time, even if you don't have a lot of muscles.
I
right?
get that question so many times. It's starting to get crazy to answer it so many times.
Right. But
Yeah.
we have a very special guest today, right?
Yeah, someone can tell us, where do you get your protein from? Ravi, where do you get your protein?
Hi.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
You?
Where do I get my protein?
The hardware store?
Yeah,
Home Depot?
I'd be rich if I had a penny every time I got asked that.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
Be millionaires.
Yeah, please tell the listeners more about yourself. We want to know.
Yeah, sure. Well, my name is Ravi. Online is Vgains Online on Instagram, and I do men's physique competitions, so competitive bodybuilding. Moving into further divisions as I just keep going on my journey. So classic physique will be next. I've done my pro show this last summer to try and achieve my IFBB Pro card. I can get into the nitty gritty of that, but that's me overall. I started off doing it from a health point of view. I got sick about 5 years ago and went plant-based to try and cure that, and then just kind of stuck with it after realizing how good I felt on it, and I was healing my the issue that I had, which was digestion-based. And then got into the ethics very quickly since I had a dog myself, and I started just doing comparisons to ask myself. I just asked myself the cognitive dissonance questions. I said, what's the difference? How can I, treat one animal this way, and yet I love and adore this one, and other dogs on the street and cats, and then just quickly went over to the ethical side. And I tell people, once you go to the ethical side, there's never any going back. Once you've been exposed to it,
Totally.
Right.
the horrors of what happens, it's like, well, you got to step up and either be a hero or kind of be the villain once you know.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people paint vegans as like the villain, and what do they know? Like, what are they talking about? They don't really understand what the ethics and what's behind it all, right?
Mm-hmm. And also, sometimes they don't, just through education, they don't understand there's even another way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I
That's-
think that society that's told us that, hey, you can't survive unless you have animal products. Whereas,
Exactly.
like, I
How
think
do you want to
that's
be
not
strong?
true.
Right.
Otherwise, all of us would probably not be here if
Right.
that was the truth.
But sometimes, even as a vegan, when you're among people that eat meat, you don't even have to say anything, and they feel attacked by your presence alone.
Yeah,
You have that sometimes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they feel like you're judging you, whether
And
you
you're the
say
villain.
anything or nothing. Just knowing that you're vegan and have
Yeah.
a different view, they think that
Right.
that you're judging them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if I give the wrong angle view at someone, they're like, "Are you judging me?" And I can tell they're thinking that, and I'm like, "No, I was just looking in your direction."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they forget that we all probably ate meat or animal products before.
I was
and it's
just-
like, so we understand. It's not like we don't understand the aspect. But
Right.
It's funny. I was at a family party yesterday and seeing some relatives I haven't seen in quite a few years now, and they bring over a plate of like chicken or whatever it is, and they say, "Oh, don't put it on this table. We got to move it over here because Rav is vegan. He's not going to like this." And I just said, I was like, "You realize I ate meat for like 29 years of my life. I know what it looks like. I know everything about it.
yeah,
Yes, I'm not going to have it under my nose, but you can, if you choose to eat it, it's your choice. I'm not going to, slap you across the face because I'm bigger than you."
yeah,
Totally.
yeah. So, what inspired you to start doing bodybuilding?
Well, I was always a skinny guy. I have even to now, I still have an ectomorph body type, which is, I have an extremely fast metabolism. I find it difficult to put on size of any kind. So, I grew up I was born in Canada, but I grew up in England. And we moved back to Vancouver when I was 18, and I only weighed about 110 pounds.
Wow. That's really
so
light.
I was really thin. I mean, being 110 but I was about 5'10" as well as full height by that point. In England and Europe in general, people are generally fairly thin. It's just kind of the way it is. Like, I think the last time I went back to England and I tried to buy some sweatpants, I couldn't get my legs in them.
They definitely have more thinning clothes in Europe.
They do, yeah.
Way more fitted, and I started laughing at the store clerk saying, "Does everybody skip leg day here?" I don't understand.
I'm from Europe, so that's our style. Yeah,
that's the style. But so moving here at 18, and then a lot of my family that was here from my mom's side are fairly large in terms of farm boy type builds, big shoulders, big chests, couple power lifters in my family, and karate experts, and they're all very big and muscular. Nobody was really lean in terms of having abs or anything. So I was the only person in my family that was constantly shredded, but I was also skinny. So skinny guy with abs, I would say, I don't really care. I had low body fat, but it wasn't really hard to have low body fat for me. I could sit there and eat a box of cookies, like 30 cookies in one sitting, and have zero side effects and zero weight.
Lucky you. I'm the complete opposite. It's a gift and a curse, I guess. We always wish what we don't have, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I wish I gained weight from it, because then I'd be on a much smoother journey on the bulk now.
Right.
Well, you definitely don't look skinny now. That's for sure. Seeing your Instagram pictures and stuff.
Thanks. That's been a lot of years of work. So it's been at 18, I moved here. I basically signed up with the gym almost immediately, started training with my cousins, learning how to train. I didn't really know what I was doing. I couldn't keep up with them, deadlifting 400 or 500 pounds, and I was deadlifting just the bar. I couldn't lift much of anything, but I tried, and I more went to the gym for, I'd say from the age of 18 to, it was probably around 25. I went to the gym for fun. I wasn't really seeing results, but it didn't bother me as much back then. I gained a bit of weight, but I didn't look into shape. My body fat was always around 20%. I still had somewhat abs, but my, everything else wasn't really in shape. But I got up to about 165, 170 pounds. And I just kind of enjoyed, fitting into clothes properly. And I enjoyed going to the gym. And then one day, one of my closest friends, Alan, who was a big guy in the gym himself, and we met through just an interest in cars, and he just said, "Hey, how about I start training you?" Because he really knew what to do in the gym. So we did. I trained with him, and he actually got me involved with the ketogenic diet, which because my body fat had gone up to about 20%, and I had done the research of bodybuilding, and keto was a huge thing even way back then.
Right.
This is almost 8 years ago that I first started doing it, and it helped me learn, macros and what's in food, and how my body reacted to carbs and insulin. So I did learn a lot from it. I don't recommend it to anybody now, and I'll get into that. But I did it for, I kind of did it for the first summer to lean down and look in shape, and I did. I was about 160 pounds lean, not stage lean, but I could see abs again. I was like, wow, I feel really good. I didn't have a care for what was going on to my insides, because that wasn't really a topic of discussion back then. Right. I was young, never once thought in my life I would get any sort of sickness or illness, right? You think you're unstoppable until you finally get stopped.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah.
Just say. So then, I went on a couple of rounds of doing keto for a couple of years. Off season, I just tried to eat lots, and then summer came and I dropped the body fat down. So I made little bits of improvement. In my third year, it came around to June time, and I was doing aggressive keto, and I would do 14 days of no carbs basically before I carved up.
Wow.
So this was right at the end of it. I was feeling dead. Brain fog. I didn't enjoy going to the gym. I didn't enjoy working out. work was hard. You know, I was self-employed. I work at a laptop every day, so it was hard to keep focus. But I was doing it because I thought that was the way to do a bodybuilding journey, to get on stage for the first time.
Right.
So as I'd put on some muscle mass, and I was like, okay, really want to step on stage and do a show in June time. I was actually helping my brother move. So we went without food for about 6 hours because we were just wanting to get it done. And then he ordered some pizza for us. And I was like, yeah, just order whatever. Even eating meat back then, I wasn't really a fan of, too much meat on pizzas. I just liked it fairly plain, green pepper, mushroom, and then maybe some pepperoni on it. He ordered whatever they had kind of the quickest, which was a butter chicken pizza. And being East Indian, he thought I would like it. I'm not a fan of butter chicken. I never have been. The amount of cream and other stuff in there, it doesn't appeal to me the slightest bit. But that's what he ordered. I didn't want to be, kind of rude. So I was like, okay, great, thank you, appreciate you bringing some food in. So I was so hungry. I ate 6 slices in about probably 10 minutes. I just kind of inhaled the food.
Wow.
And we went back to moving, and I had food poisoning for about 6 weeks nonstop. Every day I wasn't getting better. I kind of, at the same time though, I tell people I didn't seek help straight away. I'd say I had a large ego on my shoulders, and I wouldn't even admit to myself that I was having an issue with digestion. I kept telling myself it would go away, it'll pass. I carried on training in the gym because the show I wanted to do was that September, and this was June. So I was starting my actual prep. And then after 6 weeks, one day in the gym, I wore hoodies all the time. I didn't show what I looked like. And my training partner finally said to me, hey, man, you look like you've lost a lot of weight. And I wasn't weighing myself at all. So I finally looked at myself and I said, you know what? I look really thin. The weight I was able to move, I didn't notice I'd lost strength because I wasn't lifting heavy weight anymore. I was trying to do, high reps, 30 rep movements and lots of sets, supersetting. So I wasn't considering that I lost strength.
Right.
And then I hopped on the scale and I was about 171 pounds and I started at 184. And I was just bewildered, like, this scale's broken. Something's broken. The mirror is broken. My training partner's broken. Telling me I've lost weight. Something's not right. So I went home, and the next morning, best time to weigh yourself is in the morning. So I pushed out of my head. I woke up, hopped on the scale, and it was 170 pounds. And my lowest I got to was 167. And that all happened in about 6 weeks. My body fat was up. I couldn't see abs anymore. So I was very defeated at this point. I was just shocked to my system. And at that point, this is 6-7 weeks afterwards, went to the doctors, multiple tests, saw a naturopath, did more and more testing. MDs told me I was healthy and there's no problem. And I kept asking, well, how come I keep dropping weight and I can't digest food? And they said, you'll get over it, which was kind of the answer. And it wasn't acceptable to me. Right. I need a proper explanation to know what's going on. I'm controlling that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So I saw a naturopath who did her own testing process, and she's the one to advise me that it seems like I'm allergic to animal protein. The food poisoning, the ketogenic diet, the aggressive dieting, my immune system was shot, and I got extremely sick. She said I had 5 different types of parasites, candida problem. It infected my small intestine, which is that destroys your immune system even more. That's when I learned your immune system starts from your small intestine, and every other month I had the flu. And it would last for weeks. And I was so tired of being sick and bedridden that I was willing to do anything to get over this. And when I say anything, at that point, she recommended that I go vegan. And I remember sitting in her office and thinking, well, I know I said I'd do anything. but I had to ask, I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is vegan? Because I didn't know anybody that was vegan. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't really know many people that were vegetarian, even though like the religion that my family is Sikhism, and that's vegetarian. You're not allowed to eat meat if you're in that religion.
Right.
I wasn't a religious person, but I said, okay, well, let me research this. And my mom lived, 2 minutes down the road from my house. So she helped me a lot for that 6 months that I was basically forced to go plant-based. She made me a lot of curries, a lot of East Indian food, a lot of ginger, garlic, quinoa. I stuck to foods that the naturopath said are going to be good to build back my gut bacteria, and it did. I felt so much better after 6 months. I was starting to get back in the gym, realized I couldn't do that show, but I said, hey, there's always next year.
Exactly.
I had lost all my muscle mass basically that I'd spent years gaining.
Oh.
But I said, muscle memory, I'll gain it back.
Muscle memory, yeah.
Totally.
Exactly.
You got it.
I had the right friends around me to boost my kind of self-esteem back up to say, hey, you'll get it back. You worked hard before.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. And I agreed. I was like, it's a lifestyle. This is for me and I'll do it again.
Right.
So I talked to my coach at the time who said, hey, glad you're healthy. My naturopath told me I could start eating meat again if I wanted to. So I went to cook some chicken breast at home under my coach's guidelines. And long story short, I didn't eat it. I took one bite, and the taste and texture, the dryness of it wasn't for me, and I couldn't believe I used to eat it before. So I started researching how can I do bodybuilding plant-based, and I came across not like when you search it today. Yeah, there's tons and tons of articles. Back then, there wasn't many. There wasn't many YouTube vegan celebrities talking about bodybuilding. Now there is. So it's a little bit difficult still.
Right. Do you feel like you became stronger after your sickness and then getting back to bodybuilding? Like you feel like you got stronger than before you actually were sick?
Yeah, definitely. So when I got around to do my first show, which was a year later, which I still had a fair bit of digestive problems, still trying to heal, still trying to diagnose what I was actually allergic to now.
Yeah.
I was in better shape than before I got sick already. So I was like, okay, how did I made this much progress? Muscle memory. I didn't used to promote because I was plant-based. This happened. I didn't say that because to myself, I really needed to believe it. I needed to experience it. I did, thousands of hours of research, read books, Dr. Michael Greger's, Dr. Garth Davis, Proteinaholic, China Study. I've read all of them. Right. I went through so much research, like on nutritionfacts.org, to really know, because in training for business, one thing I've been taught through my business training is if one of my employees is going to ask me a question, I always tell them, think about the questions that are going to come back and answer those before you speak. So you give the person a complete question / answer before they even have a chance to reply, so they get all the information up front. So I use the same kind of mindset for when I started researching, bodybuilding, doing it vegan. I started saying, well, if I say, well, it's because of this or I do this, I'm going to get certain questions back. And if I wasn't confident enough to answer those, I wanted to do the research. So I was. So I didn't used to talk about it so much for the first show. The first show went decently well. My first ever time on stage. I was still sick at the time, so I didn't do perfect, but I was very happy. I was excited. So I did a presentation for vegan bodybuilding afterwards, which was received really well. I was expecting about 10 people show up, and we had a room full of almost 50 people. And I was like, I need more chairs. So this was kind of the point where I guess vegan bodybuilding was sort of in people's minds. People were hearing about it more. So that's how come it was so popular and so many people turned up, which I was very excited and grateful for. And it's just kind of grown since to whole new levels. Like you asked at the start, where do I get my protein? For that first 2 years, I got that question every week inside the gym. Every week, multiple times. And it was, I never responded in a rude manner because I took every opportunity as an opportunity to educate. And even though I didn't know all the answers, I would just tell people, honestly, listen, I don't know all the answers, but this is what I'm doing and this is where my research has led me.
Great response.
Yeah, I always try, I don't want to come across as a know-it-all. Now that I've gone further into the vegan journey and activism level, I'm glad I did that because that's what people assume every vegan is. You think you know everything. They assume I'm spreading propaganda and I'm angry all the time, but I'm smiling all the time, and I'm just trying to help people avoid the issue that I went through. I even after when I didn't eat the chicken, a few months later, my coach said, hey, can you at least start eating fish? The good protein, that healthy fat.
Oh, no.
So me back then still having that cognitive dissonance, I was like, yeah, fish is a vegetable. Sure, I can eat that. So I started eating salmon, tuna, cod for almost 2 months doing a meal prep service. I also kept my plant-based eating going, like a lot of plant-based meals. I ordered from Chomp Vegan Eatery out of Vancouver. They did meal prep for me and sent it to my house.
Oh,
Cool.
So I learned more and more about how to eat plant-based. And because they broke down all my macronutrients as well, it really helped me continue my journey on learning more about each individual food. So after 2 months, I finally said, okay, coach, I can't eat this fish. It tastes gross. I hate every meal I have with that. The vegan meals I'm getting, I enjoy eating those, but whenever I have to eat the salmon, I hate it, and I just force it down with tons of ketchup.
right. Was that the last animal you ate?
Yeah,
Was fish?
so that was
for me too. Yeah, I felt
yeah,
that too.
so that was basically it, and then I got the worst side effects from fish though, because I was still dealing with the digestion problems. While I was healthier and I was gaining weight and training, apparently my body, we did more testing later, but apparently my body wasn't detoxing as well as other people. So what do you think happened with eating a lot of fish for 2 months and my body wasn't detoxing?
A lot of build up.
Yeah.
A lot of
feeding parasites too, because like fish has a bunch of parasites too.
Yeah.
Like the worms,
and,
right?
I had what they can only describe as high heavy metals, and it's a form of like mercury poisoning.
Wow.
So like I said, I grew up in England. I grew up a huge football fan, or soccer here. I played for a team my whole life. I came to Canada and I played for a team every single year. I'm proud to say, I am very competitive in football. I'm a sprinter, I'm a striker. I'm proud to say I've always been kind of the top two on the team. Always enjoyed playing. And after this, my first game that I played, when I started realizing something was wrong, I didn't know what the heck it was, but I snapped my ankle because I couldn't judge. Like, I was just terrible on the pitch. I couldn't run with the ball properly. I couldn't shoot. And then I finally made a move down the wing and I went to cross the ball with my left foot, and I couldn't judge where the ball was. And I remember vividly looking down at the ball and like taking a few extra steps and just being like, how come I can't judge the distance? And I went to kick it and I kicked the ground and just snapped my ankle backwards. And for being, kind of the top goal scorer on the team, and everyone's like, what happened? Still then, even at that point, my ego wouldn't let me admit it. I rolled off like, no, guys, I'm fine. Like somebody substitute me. And then my ankle was like sort of dangling and swelling. And I was like, what happened? I just sat there, not even in pain. I just kept looking at my leg like, what is wrong with me? Like, something is wrong with me. It healed after about a month. I was able to walk on it again. I broke ankles before playing football from bad tackles. So I knew what to do. I healed it, rested it, and I got back to the team. And this is before I went to get testing done for whatever heavy metals were going on. But I told the team, hey, guys, I'll just go and goal. I was the coach of the team as well. We didn't have a goalie. So I was like, I'll go and goal. I'm a good goalie. I kind of grew up as a goalie. And they were like, yeah, awesome. Just, go and goal. So I went and goal, and I let in two of the most embarrassing goals that have ever been experienced. Like, if it was recorded, it would be the number one blooper reel on YouTube.
Oh, no.
I couldn't. One of them, the ball just bounced towards me and I went to grab it and I just missed it. I just couldn't judge it. My eyes were kind of flickering. I missed the ball and it rolled into the back of the net as slow as possible. And I just stood there and looked backwards, and I was like, I subbed myself off. I finally admitted to the other two coaches on the team. I was like, something's going on. I'm not coming back to play until I figure this out. And they were just more very concerned because they saw me go from, in a month or a month and a half, the best player to the absolute worst. And they were like, something's wrong. So I had a lot of love from my team that I was close with. They'd send me lots of messages like, hey man, I hope you're feeling better. And I had a lot of support. And then once I got tested, I told them what was going on, and everyone was just kind of shocked. And I think in a lot of respects, it opened up a lot of their eyes to say, wow, I didn't know that was even possible. I thought that was like a rumor, fake news kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So, and it's interesting, like one of them now, who was obviously my closest friend on the team then, because of Game Changers, he's messaged me recently. Him and his wife have gone vegan.
Cool.
Wow.
He's on that journey himself, and he compares it to like, yeah, you've been doing it for so many years with all these health problems, and now, he's very respectful. Say you got on stage, you've done this. He's like, I want to learn from that, and it's a good feeling that I've managed to achieve something with all the troubles health wise that I've had, then I get friends who are, sometimes even in better shape than me, either physically or insides wise, and they want to do what I'm doing,
right?
Because they've seen my journey, and I feel very blessed that I'm able to share my story and how far I've managed to take my health and now my fitness level. That luckily I have a lot of gratitude for, and there's a lot of respect given back for it. As long as I can keep going with not just the journey I'm on, but also give back the knowledge and the education that I've learned along the years.
Definitely. You went through ups and downs that makes you even stronger, than keeping it consistent with like health or whatever. It's not a bad thing to get sick. It actually teaches you where you have to take care of yourself even better, You get more in tune with your body by being sick, actually, and then getting healthy.
Absolutely. I always say the day I got sick, sometimes during these years, some days have been really difficult to be like, how come I'm sick again? This is ridiculous. And I get so frustrated inside that I can't believe something I ate just sent me sideways, and I'll lose 5-6 pounds in a couple of days just from not digesting food.
Right.
But then I still look back and I still live with the mindset, like, I do not regret that meal that I had that made me sick. I don't regret anything that's happened on this journey because I love where I am today. Everything happens for a reason. It led me to my, purpose of doing this vegan bodybuilding journey, and giving back to so many people that I've managed to help. And, I've had some deep talks with people who would say, what if it comes down to it, and all this time, if you had been eating a little bit of meat or chicken or whatever it is, and you would be 100% healthy, wouldn't you do it? And I just, I've given the honest answer back to say, if I had to live the rest of my life being 80% healthy and having some ups and downs here and there, but I never hurt another animal, but I knew that if I ate a little bit of meat, I could be 100%. I'm perfectly honest by saying I'd rather be 80% healthy and not hurt anybody else.
That's how I see it too.
I find it extremely selfish to say, for me to be the best version that I believe I can be, I have to step on others. It's selfish. That's just the basic of how I view it for myself. It's how I've done things. If I can do something a different way where I hurt absolutely nobody, and I, in fact, start helping and saving, the two don't even compare with each other. There's not even a comparison level to that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. Do you still have some time that we ask you some more questions? Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, because I'm really curious about your typical training day. Like, how does it look like? What do you usually eat when you really need to train hard?
I'm sure it differs from day to day and what you're doing for competition or not, right? So just a quick overview.
For sure. First of all, for any of the diets that I've done for myself, including this entire last prep, it's all in a Google Doc. So I share that with anybody that asks. It's all free. Somebody wants to see what I've done for a bulk in the past, what I did week by week, day by day, also macros broken down to get the physique I had for my last show. I give that for free. I do custom meal plans for some clients. I don't charge much because I just like helping people. But for the show, it was funny because I got a lot of pushback from people I knew in the industry who were either competing with me or, were coaches themselves, because they knew what I was eating. And it goes completely against the grain. I'll be eating fruit still when people are on no carb. I have bowls of cereal. I still eat my yams and sweet potato.
Yeah, the most nutrient dense foods, the good ones. Yeah.
So I always told them, I was like, it's more of a timing thing. Like, I have majority of my carbs for breakfast and around my workout. Any other time, I do have very low carb because I don't need the carbs for energy. I'm not gonna expend them. So my coach last year for my show out of Miami, Paul Revelia, he's the one that taught me a couple of key points, and the two things that went completely against the industry. He has Natalie, she's a fit vegan chef on Instagram. She's an IFBB Pro bikini competitor, and I spoke to her. She recommended Paul to me, and the first thing he said to me on the phone was, "You're not going to do a single day of morning cardio, no fasted morning cardio." And I sat there listening, and I was like, that can't be true. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. and go on the Stairmaster for an hour if you want to get on stage. That's just what everybody does. And he was like, nope. And he pointed out a little bit of science to me, and I was willing to be educated and follow his plan because he's the expert and I'm clearly not. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do that. And I got a lot of pushback from friends saying, hey, you should do extra cardio in the morning. And I kept saying, no, I'm going to follow through with what he wants me to do.
Right.
And then he also said my lowest carb day was going to be 220 grams of carbs. It was the lowest I was going to go to, which again, I had friends saying, hey, you can't do that.
That's high. Yeah, that's high for some bodybuilders. Yeah.
When they're used to doing no carb to get in shape, and I was doing over 200 and still kind of loving my workouts and my meals. It was strange, but it worked. It worked for that first show. I placed top 5. I qualified for the pro show, and I was just bewildered at like, how did I do this? Like my first time with the coach doing it, the whole thing, bulk, prep, everything 100% vegan, completely against anybody else's macro guidelines. It was just different. That's when I realized when you're doing it plant-based, the macros are used differently. I can consume more carbs because I'm not gaining a lot of the animal fats. So my body fat continuously drops because I'm eating nothing but whole foods, basically very minimal processed as well.
Yeah.
So it was just a completely different way to do things. And the last 2 shows I've done, the weeks leading up to the show, friends are absolutely dead doing this keto thing, and I'm still enjoying my workouts, happy. I'm a little bit sleepy and like, fatigue because there's so much training going on. Plus with the long work days, you're kind of tired. But I was still happy and my face looked healthy while everybody else kind of gets that diet face look going on, like very sunken.
Yeah. I think people get confused about health versus like aesthetics, right? Like they think, if you're skinny, you see a 6-pack, but prepping for a show, I don't think is that healthy. It's very low percentage of body fat. Our bodies are probably not survivable to survive that low, It's only for that one day and then it goes back up. So it's kind of like, I don't know why our society thinks aesthetically, if you're skinny and you have a 6-pack, that you're automatically healthy. And we need to, I think, get away from that.
Yeah, right. Like our friend, do you know Robert Cheek?
Yeah.
Our friend, like he constantly eats, also whole foods, and he's like you, like carbs are fine, like, and he feels strong. But I think,
people have demonized carbs for, I don't know, I guess industry and sponsored funding issues. I don't know, but it's just funny how, I totally agree. For one, doing bodybuilding is not the healthiest sport you could do. Like getting to that low level of body fat, the water loading you do on peak week, people like I did sodium loading to try and eliminate a lot of water from the body so the skin gets tighter. It's not good for your kidneys doing that too much, doing it too aggressively. It's, getting down to 5-6% body fat. Yeah, your body can't survive at that. And then there's a strong disconnect. I had a photo shoot the day after the show and promo material, things to look back on myself to be like, wow, that was the best shape I got in when I was 35 years old. I want to look back on that when I'm 60 and like talk with my kids and say, yeah, your old man was pretty good. But like, I've realized like I post those pictures and then I get friends that see me, obviously not in competition shape anymore. And sometimes they're like, hey, you don't even have, a full 6-pack right now. I thought you were in shape. I got to kind of have to remind them, like, dude, that only lasts for like 2 weeks maximum.
Wow.
Yeah,
you can't
as soon as you start eating again back to normal, like, you just.
Yeah, it's a journey. Like, as a week or 2 after the show, I was already up to 600-700 grams of carbs a day, and you get carb overflow where it's going to go into the muscles more and it'll remove a lot of the definition that you've gained, but that's the whole point of it. I don't want to keep it. I want to gain muscle mass now, so my calorie intake shoots up through the roof. That's the process.
Right.
Like, I'll cut down again next year. Some people don't quite get that. They think I'm just lean, absolutely shredded and vascular all year round, and I'm like, no, I sometimes look like a potato. It's fine. But I'm still healthy. Like, I'm still training. Right. So right now, my training regime has changed. I actually bought my first training program to try and learn a little bit more about different techniques from, I don't know if you've heard of Mike Rashid before.
Sounds familiar. Sounds like
He's
UFC. Is that UFC? No.
He's a professional boxer now as well, but he built his name with
Right.
CT Fletcher. They have a gym in Miami. He's like an old school trainer. I think he's about similar age to me, but he's a really big guy, and his whole method is overtraining. Like, your body can handle way more than people say it can, and he went vegan almost 2 years ago now, I think. Or rather, I'd say plant-based. So he's promoted a lot of that, and I've always respected his training method. So I finally picked up his program, got to just talk to him over Instagram, which I thought was cool because I've been a fan of his for like 7-8 years now. So I was like, hey, it's like a little fangirl moment. I'm like, Mike Rashid just messaged me. That was awesome. I'm talking to him. I hope it's him and not just one of his staff. Anyways, but yeah, so I signed up to his, but I've always followed a training method of basically off his ideology, even before I was really knowing what I was doing in the gym. That's how I learned. Was I train until failure. I don't lift the max weight I can every single time. I do a lot of reps. I focus on form more than anything. That's what my coaches in the past have taught me. And I just make sure I change my workout basically every single time I'm in the gym. I don't do the same thing over and over, because that's honestly just how I find I enjoy every single gym workout. And some days when I'm tired and I don't want to go to the gym, I still go, because I also see it as I have to go, because it's sort of a job for myself now. And some days you don't want to go to work. But I'm going also to, support and show people that you can do this vegan. And if I carry on going and pushing through, I think about how many more animals I can save by just working on myself, that other people see it and they want to go vegan because they want to go and get themselves in great shape. And if they see me doing it, they'll want to do it themselves. That's just kind of how it's been working. So it's almost like a job. I'm like, I have to go. I'm not doing it for myself anymore. I'm doing it for, the multiple farms I drive by all the time. And I see all these cows and like the calves in their pens, and it makes me sad, and it pushes me to say, okay, I have to do more. I have to be more of an impact to the society that I'm a part of, and help influence in a positive way, this health journey that I'm on, the bodybuilding journey that I'm on. You don't have to do it in a negative fashion where you're dead every single show. You can actually take care of your insides, enjoy your food, enjoy your workout, and enjoy the actual show day. You don't have to be dead the whole time. You can do it a different way. So that's really what I'm trying to prove in this fitness industry, that they've demonized carbs. They've told you have to do 2-3 hours of cardio a day, or whatever the heck some people do. I did 30 minutes a day. I only did a 12-week prep for this last show. Other people are doing 25 weeks.
Yeah.
I finished right in the middle of my entire class. It was large, and doing less than half the prep of everybody else in my first pro show, while other people have done multiple and won multiple shows. I was pretty happy with myself, and just, my self-esteem was through the roof to be like, I can't believe I achieved this with only working on it for 12 weeks. And I wasn't training much in that off season either, because I wasn't planning on doing a show. I was doing maybe 3 days a week workouts, doing a lot of family life stuff. I built a house and it was very busy, and business was really busy, and I just wasn't focusing on training as much as I would have been had I been planning on doing a show. And one of my friends actually pushed me to do the show, because he competed with me, and he was like, hey man, why don't you just do the show with me? He's like, you're qualified for it, you may as well.
Yeah.
And I sat there. I remember it was Easter dinner at my fiance's family house, and I was about to eat into this Whole Foods vegan cake that we picked up for the dinner as he's texting me and saying this, and I was like, you know what? I should just do the show. And I made sure I had a few bites first, and then I said it.
I'm going in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I made the journey to that. So right now on a daily eating plan, I have about 5, sometimes 6 meals a day if time allows. My fiance is my, ultimate chef in the house. She's amazing and has taught me so much on how to use different spices and foods that, before even I made so-called fancy meals for friends when I was, cooking on my own, but they were all just kind of simple pastas and stir fries. Like, there was nothing really to it. Nobody's really used to having anything different except chicken, rice, broccoli.
For prepping, I'm sure that's like the go-to everything.
Exactly. So
Nice.
yeah, I stick to easy, quick meals I can cook at home and a lot of meal prep. For breakfast, I'm not one to say you have to eat breakfast foods for breakfast. Like, you have to eat, this. So people are like, no, I have eggs for breakfast because that's a breakfast food. That's not true. Eggs is never a food in the first place. But
Oh, yeah.
One of the worst breakfast.
One of the worst.
Cholesterol.
High fats in the morning. Yeah, cholesterol,
Yeah.
high saturated fat in the morning.
Yeah,
Shock your body in the morning like that. All right.
Yeah, don't treat your body like you love it, not you hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for breakfast, I'll just have like a couple of. I'll make a sandwich, usually a tofu or tempeh based sandwich with a bunch of veggies in it. I'll have like a peanut butter and banana sandwich right afterwards, and then usually a bowl of cereal with some type of granola hemp chia on top.
That's still breakfast?
That's still breakfast.
That'll be for breakfast. That's, I try and get as many calories, carbs, and fats as I can in a, still a limited amount of fat. I can't go overboard with that.
Yeah.
But I get as much as I can for breakfast because that's where I'm going to need it the most to fuel the first few hours of my day, which usually filled with nonstop business meeting calls and a lot of focus. And I have to have a big meal because I know I'm not going to be able to eat for a few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So then next meal comes around. We usually have a bunch of potatoes or rice prepped. That's already cooked in the fridge. Then I just make protein and vegetables with it, which again usually revolves around chickpeas, lentils as the main protein sources. Sometimes tempeh again. Make it into a stir fry, throw it on the baked potato, or mix it into a big rice bowl. There's still very high calories. I'll throw an avocado in with it, or if I'm feeling like I want something more tasty, I'll use a sauce that's higher fat, or a sesame oil, or peanut based dressing. I keep an eye on sodium. I don't go overboard with sodium. I do believe it's you need it in your body, obviously for the healthy aspects of it. But I try and stick to all the healthy forms of sodium as well. Less processed food.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Eve's ground veggie. I love eating that, but it's very high in sodium, so it's still seen as a treat for me as a cheat meal. It's not. I can't use it as a staple in my diet. I love the Beyond Meat products. It's a treat when I have it. It's not a staple.
Yeah.
If I have it too much, how can I say I'm healthy?
Yeah, right.
Totally right.
It's a cheat meal. You got to consider it a cheat meal. It's once a week, maybe twice. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. So any exciting future plans before we leave you, and where can the listeners find you?
Exciting future plans. Yeah. My plan is to get my IFBB Pro card. I've given myself the next, 3 to 4 years to achieve it. And then we, family plan wise, we are opening up our own animal sanctuary.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
You should
send us the links when you get it. We'll put it up on our website.
And we're going to come and visit, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll definitely come visit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody and everybody will be welcome. And it's, we're already doing a lot of research on where we want to do it and how we want to do it. But I'll give you kind of a snippet of what we're planning is, it's not going to be a petting zoo, obviously, but It's going to be kind of an animal sanctuary / kids theme park. So
is it going to be like hearts on noses type of thing, or?
A little bit, yeah. We visited a lot of the local sanctuaries. Happy Herd is, they're good friends of ours. They've helped us a lot with a lot of the information. But we've also been to some regular farms. Like there's a farm in Abbotsford called Man Farms, and they've got a huge play area, zip lines, bouncy stuff for kids. So we've been playing with ideas to build, like I said, a sort of theme park to attract a lot more foot traffic to help fund the sanctuary and educate people on how to take care of animals and what they mean to us. And, they're more than just something for their plate, so we've got a lot of things planned, a gym as well on the property so I can train classes and personal training.
That's great. Yeah, that's
we're
awesome.
going to get plant-based nutrition certificates and organic gardening, zero waste living. We've got a lot of plans for it. And then, so that'll be a plan down the line. We've got our YouTube show coming up, which is going to be called Train with a Vegan, which is myself and my fiance, Miss Vegains, on Instagram. So you can add us on there, Miss Vegains, MS Vegains, and then Vegains Online is mine on Instagram. We'll be launching that probably tomorrow, in the next couple of days, the first episode will be out.
Perfect.
Which is basically going to have a strong focus in the fitness plant-based industry. So the Game Changers review will be coming soon as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you embody the Game Changers with your fiance. You know, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need more people.
That documentary was amazing. It was all the years of research I did on my own to convince myself that I was doing the right thing was put into one 90-minute movie. And I was just blown away like, man, everybody's got it easy now.
Yeah, if they believe all the science and do their research, because there's a lot of people that are still... I mean, we could have a whole podcast on people talking about the Game Changers.
Check out Joe Rogan on that.
Yeah.
Right, Joe Rogan likes to debunk vegans. But then it's like, you know, he questions vegans a lot, but then we get good publicity. Bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, he's talking about it. So
that's what they say, right? Any publicity is good publicity. But if you ever want to do a show on Game Changers and talking about Joe Rogan, hey, I'll gladly come back for that.
Ooh. We might, maybe we'll take it that direction for sure. That would be great. Yeah,
I would like to talk about that topic. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, Ravi, and have yourself a great rest of your day and weekend here.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thanks for your time, and have a great weekend with your family.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I hope to talk to you both soon again.
Sounds great. Take care.
All right, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.